Welcome to Money Matters with Southern Michigan Bank and Trust, where we talk to the experts in our team to answer your financial questions. We're sitting down with Matt Moses, Senior Vice President, Head of Wealth Management, to talk about questions on retirement and investing.
Hey, my name's Matt Moses. I am the Head of Wealth Management here at Southern Michigan Bank and Trust. And basically what we do in wealth management is help our clients achieve their financial goals.
So Matt, can you tell us what's the difference between a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA?
In the most simplest form, a Roth IRA and a traditional IRA differ in how they're taxed and how the growth is taxed. So a traditional IRA is money that grows tax deferred, which means you don't pay any income tax on the front end. So as you put money in, it's not taxed, but as you take it out, it is taxed, just like income would be. So I guess the best example would be, let's just use simple numbers here. You put $1,000 in a traditional IRA, and over the course of your career, that grows to, let's just say, $10,000. That $9,000, really the whole $10,000 you're going to pay income tax on as you take it out. So that $1,000 when you put it in didn't cost you anything in terms of tax. When you take it out, you pay income tax on it. The Roth, on the other hand, you're paying tax up front. So the $1,000 goes in on the front end, you're still going to owe tax on that. So income tax, you're going to pay on that. Now that same $1,000 that grows to $10,000 in the Roth, as you take it out, you don't owe income tax on it anymore. So that's really the biggest difference. And we encourage all of our clients to really try and have a combination of both. We don't know what tax rates are going to look like in the future, and so that's really the bet you're making with one or the other is how much tax am I going to pay in the future? None of us know, and so to have, as we call around here, buckets. So a Roth bucket and a traditional IRA bucket or a tax deferred bucket to pull money out of when you retire is helpful.
And when is the most ideal time to start saving, Matt?
Yeah, I think getting in the habit right away is best. So as soon as you start earning income, I think it makes sense to start saving for retirement to get in that habit. What we tend to see in the industry is if you wait, it's hard to get in that habit of starting to save. You get used to spending everything that you make. And so it's really hard then to flip the switch 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road to then say, oh boy, now I'm going to start living off of 90% of what I take home. Because that would really kind of be the target, at least 10% of what you make goes into some sort of savings for retirement. And, it is, I think with anything, you get in the habit of spending something, whether it be Netflix or a cell phone bill, whatever it is, you get used to that being a part of your financial life. And it's really, really hard to stop doing that, right? So if you get used to spending everything you make, I can almost guarantee that you're probably not going to save enough. So as early as you can, as often as you can, start saving because it starts to compound. So interest on interest on interest, a little bit can turn into a lot at the end.
Matt, let's talk budgeting. Can I still spend my money on fun stuff like shopping while I'm trying to save?
This is like the bad B word, budget. If you have a budget that allows you to go do those types of things and save, sure. I mean, I think that there's got to be balance, and everybody's different, but the other thing, like we tend to see too, those people that make budgets and stick to budgets have some sort of wiggle room to do things that they enjoy. If all you're doing is saving and and not doing things that are fun, because let's be honest, saving isn't that much fun. Doing fun things is fun, and spending money on things is fun. So there's got to be a balance there. So I wouldn't say that you can't shop, but because we all like stuff, right? So finding that balance, I think, is important.
And Matt, we find that many college students are wondering, when should they start saving for retirement? Now or later?
Everybody's situation is different. I think to the extent that you could save now, I don't think that's a bad thing. Because again, even if it were $100 a year, even if it's still something, right? If somebody were to put $10 a week, right? $10 a week into some sort of savings where it earns interest, and if it is not a checking account, that's not a savings account, so some sort of investment account. This is not going to be a true example for everybody, but with the match that we get here, so $10 of yours goes in, $10 that the company puts in for you. Over the course of 30 years, that $10 a week turns into almost $200,000, right? So $10 a week is only what, $520 a year? It's not that much money, right? $10 a week is 2 cups of coffee.
That's, yeah.
200,000. Can you give up 2 cups of coffee or one shirt for $200,000? That's the decision that everybody's got to make. Everybody's got things that in their life and that's what makes this job interesting. Is every conversation is different. Everybody's situation is unique. Everybody's financial situation is unique, and so there's not a right answer for everybody. So if you have an extra $10 a week, it can't hurt to save it,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So, Matt, for those of us who have kids, when should we start saving for them, and what type of accounts should we be opening up for our children?
So this is a tricky one, and I don't know if my take on this is what everybody would say. So my thing with college savings for kids is there are a lot more ways to pay for college outside of savings than there are for retirement, right? So if I get to retirement and I don't have enough saved, I don't get to go borrow from the government to fund I don't get to go borrow to fund my retirement, right? So if my kids get to the point where they're ready to go to college and we don't have enough saved for us to just pay cash for it, they can get jobs, they can get loans. There's a number of things that they can do to help pay for college. So I would say first and foremost, make sure that you as a parent are looking out for yourself first. I know it's a mindset that is probably not popular as a parent because you want to take care of your kids, right? But take care of your own retirement first, then start looking for ways to save for college. And so yes, 529 plans are good. The thing with 529 plans are that they have to be used for school costs, right? So let's say you have multiple kids, all of them end up not going to college for whatever reason. They go to go out and do anything other than college, which is just fine, right? You then have all this money in there that you have to figure out who's going to be the beneficiary of that money. And it might not be your kids. Then is it nieces and nephews? Is it somebody else in the family that you then give that money to? And again, that's not a bad thing, but we can't guarantee what our kids do, right? We can hope that they go to college if that's what we want for them, but if they don't, we've just put a bunch of money into an account that they might not actually use. And then so to take that money, if I were to take that money out, I want my money back because my kids aren't going to use it. I'm going to pay penalties to the IRS to take it out for non-educational purposes. I could go back to school, but I don't want to. I'm old. I don't want to go back to school. So IRA, if you have the ability to put money into an IRA, and there's all sorts of rules around that, which we won't get into here. So you can use IRA money for your kids' education. So that kind of checks both of those boxes. Its primary purpose is your retirement funding, but you can also take money out for your kids' education. I tend not to like using. I like to have them separate, right? So one is for retirement, one is for. It's like having a savings account that isn't really a savings account. You just go spend it all the time. I mean, so I like having kind of just for me personally, I like to have that division, the clear division between the two. And then there's also, I mean, you could just save money in a regular savings account too, right? That you can earmark, just say, hey, this is for my kids' education, but ultimately it's still yours to do what you want with.
And how would a prospective client meet with our wealth management team? Is there any financial criteria that they need to have?
The answer to what do they need to come meet with somebody in wealth management, the answer is nothing. There isn't we don't have some predefined, this is exactly what all of our clients look like. Everybody's different. And again, what we find most often is that most people have a basic idea of where they're going in their financial life, but there's also a bunch of things that they don't know because they don't live it every single day, right? So many times it makes sense just to sit down and have a conversation with us around, what are your goals? What are you trying to do? And we can oftentimes identify, well, have you thought about this? Have you thought about, think about young parents, right? So have you thought about what happens to you or what happens to your kids if, you get into a car accident? And what types of things do you need in place if that happens? So I think people think about that, but they don't really know where to go, right? So having those conversations with one of our advisors, I think, makes a lot of sense for a lot of people. And you don't have to have an extreme amount of money. What's interesting is, when we kind of transitioned our department and we went through kind of some restructuring about 6 years ago, and we kind of renamed the group, right? So we were always the trust department, and we kind of rebranded as wealth management. One of the things that some of us struggled with is, wealth assumes some massive amount of money, right? But the point that I made at the time is wealth is whatever we define it as, right? Every person defines wealth differently. So my wealth is different than your wealth and is different from your wealth. And there's no right or wrong amount for wealth, right? It is whatever it is for us. And so, our job as advisors is to set each person that sits in front of us up with a plan to make their wealth whatever it is they want it to be, right? So take it from where it is today to where they want it to be. And it could be saving for college. It could be buying a business. It could be doing all sorts of things. But how do we get from where they are today to where they ultimately end up wanting to be? And it's, it's kind of this journey, right? And you go through life phases and goals change and needs change. And so making sure that they are armed with all the information they need to get through wherever they are on that journey with their wealth.
And why should a prospective client meet with a Southern Michigan Bank and Trust wealth management advisor as opposed to any other financial advisor out there?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, in 2023, I think a lot of advisors look similar in the products that they can offer. So I think ultimately it comes down to, how do we approach our client relationships versus how others. And I can't really speak to how others do, But we have a tremendously talented and knowledgeable team of people here. I think maybe that's the biggest difference between us and maybe some other businesses that look like ours around is it's not just one person. We've got a team of people that have different experiences, different knowledge bases, and we can lean on each other when we end up or we come across situations where maybe I don't know the answer. Maybe I don't know. I haven't seen this before, but maybe Buzz or Sherry or Melissa or Sean have, or Victoria. I think we've got a really, really good team of good people. And I think, and again, I don't know that this is unique to us, but I think we have a group of people that care tremendously about helping people. I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's what we're doing. I mean, we're not brain surgeons, we're not rocket scientists. We're just helping people answer questions that they don't know the answer to, or ask questions that they don't even know that they should have.
Thank you all for listening. Watch out for another session of Money Matters with Southern Michigan Bank and Trust soon.